What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to What's Up with Mental Health and Everything Else. And if you could see, we're back. And of course, I am your host tonight, Latavia Balmer, and I am here again with personal counselor Brendan Should. And I just want to thank everybody who participated in our March Madness special. You guys are amazing and you are incredible insights. Okay, we took a very much needed break because we had to.
It was March Madness.
Yes, I'm saying, right? But now we're back, and it's the month of April, and you already know what today is. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it.
So let me introduce you to our topic tonight. What's up with substance abuse and sexual assault?
Yes.
So, what is substance abuse? Well, substance abuse is excessive use of psychoactive drugs such as alcohol, pain medicine, illegal activities, and yes, you guessed it, marijuana. So, what's up with it?
Well, that's a really great definition because that kind of encompasses what substance abuse is. We get to the point of when we call it an abuse or an addiction, when it is starting to interfere with like normal daily things that you have to do in life, given your age group, right? So if you're an adult with like a full-time or part-time job, you have to hold yourself responsible that way. But it's slacking because of a substance use. We're going more into the realm of like substance abuse or an addiction or whatever is supposed to be the functioning thing you're supposed to be doing at that age, whether it be school or work or whatever your main role is. If you're unable to do it because of a substance, we are looking now into the realm of substance abuse and addiction.
Okay. Okay. And this all falls under mental health, though. Like,
big time.
Like, a lot of people start to get addicted of the things that they feel like make their life easier in a way, and they feel like they could function with doing these things because they are indeed functioning. But what they don't know is they're actually deteriorating.
Yeah, because there's a lot of substances out there, right? Like you said, you have the alcohol, you have your marijuana, you have your psychedelics, you have your opioids, you have your benzoids. They all have an effect on the body in some particular way, right? And some people can like the feeling, right? Sometimes a certain medication is to help you, like an opioid. It's a painkiller, if you will.
Yeah.
You get a version of opioids when you go through like severe chronic pain. And we'll get into a conversation about how, people are prescribed painkillers because let's say they had a car accident or something. And they got used to having that in their system, and now all of a sudden they can't get off of it.
Okay.
We'll get into that. But it's the effect. It's a almost immediate effect after partaking in some type of substance where whatever overcomes, the body has a response to that. The mind has a response to that. And it's you're not sober.
Yeah. So
you're not sober.
I have a question. Like, what makes, someone become addicted to these types of medicine if we quote unquote need them to help us, heal and go to the next?
Yeah, a lot of different reasons. Some people really could just like the effect of it a lot. It could be that. Some people they feel like they kind of need it to cope with life and life circumstances, which that's a real subtle one because denial is real. Okay? Like, I got this. This doesn't control me. That mentality is real because like one person can be saying that, but yet doing a certain substance 2-3 times a day. And there's no prescription for it. It's, well, it helps me to function. And there's a lot of gray areas to this, right? It's a lot of gray areas because not every drug or substance is used for a medicinal purpose. For example, like alcohol, right? Alcohol is a legal drug, okay, a legal substance, and it's meant to have like a good time with. Okay, I listen. I would be lying if I said I never, as an adult, 21 plus, remember that. If I haven't partaked, right? And why? Because it's fun. Like, I have enjoyed myself with friends and other people, and there was alcohol involved, right? But that fun and desire, like, there's a time and place for it. While I had a lot of fun doing it, and like, let's say internally, my body was like almost in euphoria, right? Because every substance has an effect. I know I can't be in that condition or that state trying to go to my job.
Exactly, yeah.
Or trying to drive, or doing something that can now then be found illegal because you're behind the wheel and you're intoxicated.
All because you don't know the difference between, you don't have a thin line between desire and responsibility.
There you go. Yeah.
I know that some people that have like mental health issues or whatever, like anxiety or depression, they tend to self-soothe with marijuana. Marijuana and alcohol. I know that in my high school years, in my high school years, around 18 or whatever, I started to, I got diagnosed with social anxiety or whatever the case may be. And when it was time to like start to go out with my friends and events and things of that nature, I could never just go sober. I always had to had to pregame a little bit to, get me, in that state of mind. Like, okay, I'm going to socialize with people. I'm going to have fun with people. I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. So I needed that little push to get me through. The enhancer. But I knew like it was only for one day. Once this party is over, I'm going to go straight back to the old Latavia. I have work to do, school to go to. I won't ever take that part of me with me to my responsibilities, So I have that line of this is just fun and this is just work. So, but there are people that don't really know, especially ones with like severe chronic depression. Marijuana keeps them going, keeps them waking up. They smoke before they eat. They smoke before they go to sleep, take a shower. And then it becomes like a cycle for them, like a routine. Like, this is my life now. Like, I wouldn't be here if I didn't have marijuana. A lot of people say that. Like, they state that.
Yeah. And, I think that kind of gets into, like, where we're at least for the state of New Jersey, when it comes down to marijuana and its use of it legally, right? Because there's been a medicinal need for marijuana, and it's been effective, right? To reduce anxiety, to reduce stress, to reduce pain sometimes, to have an appetite, and to kind of just like feel better, generally speaking. And like, it's I feel like it's fine, right? If it's serving a beneficial purpose, right? Because we can definitely use marijuana now recreationally, or you can use it medicinally, which means like you can have the effect of it because it's found, medically speaking, to make you feel better and do your life role more impactfully, right? And it's like, how is it serving you? Right? And I feel like it comes down to that question. Is it benefiting you, or is it just like having a destructive impact on you? Because we can say that about marijuana and whatnot, and Now, I'm not too privy on like laws around drug testing and whatnot, and how that goes right now. It's a forever changing climate.
Yeah.
But like, if that was to show up on a drug report, you're going to for a new job or something, and like we know that with alcohol, it doesn't last in your system longer than like almost a day. So chances are, by the time you have to take a drug test, unless you drink something right before it, which now we're going into the addiction part, okay, or substance abuse part, because that didn't make sense as a behavior. Chances are it's out the system. But with marijuana, that stays in your system for like 30 days, if you will, up like minimally 30 days, could be longer. And it's like because it's a medical drug and it's a legal drug that is permissible. But then there's other drugs that are illegal, right? And if that comes up on a drug test, there's repercussions for it. And you have to kind of be wise about this, if you will.
Yes.
And know that, in certain social contexts, certain drugs are permissible while others are just like big no-no. There is like, I suppose you can even say there's stigma around certain types of drugs that one partakes in, or substances, if you will. And you just have to look at the impact that it's having on you as a professional, as a social being, and all the other qualities of life aspects that one has in the world.
I start to think about, how the world produces all these drugs, and the people that are addicted to these drugs, they are looked at a certain way, And then I would start to think to myself, so if you treat people who are addicted to the drugs that you produce, why produce them at all?
That's a good question.
Like, why produce them at all? If we didn't have these types of things to keep us from, being better people and hindering our process, to be responsible and things of that nature, why continue to produce these things but put in place laws to not drink and drive, don't smoke and drive, all of these things. And it's like, you can stop hit and runs, you can stop overdosing if you just seize the production.
It's that kind of brings me back to our episodes about systemic biases and perhaps the purpose or the histories behind how certain drugs have entered into our environments, if you will. We want to save that conversation, but like for real, like we're like it's like a why, because there's I think for sure there are some drugs out there that it will just do harm, like crack, if you will, or and I know that's a street word for it, but it's that hook factor that it's really hard to get that piece under control, and it starts to overtake, where it's like even in the normal functioning of life, I need this, right? And it gets harder and harder and harder to hide, and then what's your relationship like with money now, right? How is your emotional stability with or without the substance? It's a rough drug. It's a rough substance.
And then that's when we get to talking about abusing, because you're using them to get these, emotional balances, mental balances, because you cannot simply function with being. You have to have a drug in your system to keep you going. And as much as you're thinking it's keeping you going, like I said in the beginning of this episode, it's actually deteriorating you, because it starts to show physically, like you're using, and back to my prior statement, like why have all these drugs and then treat your people that are addicted to these drugs this kind of way that society has treated them? You know, back home, there is like so many, like in my community, there's so many blocks that literally is dedicated to people who are addicted to that drug, you know, cocaine and all of that, things like that. And the way that my community has viewed them is sickening to me. You know, it's kind of sad to me because I feel like these are people, you know, they have hard time living life. They're not understanding their own mental processes, their own emotional well-being and things of that nature. So they tend on these drugs to keep them going because they don't have any support system. So it always comes back to not having that support, that warmth, that nurturement to, you know, feel worthy of yourself. You have to rely on the drugs, you know. So my whole thing about for this episode is we understand why people abuse drugs. We just stated it. But it's more so how can we help them understand, you know? You had said something that made me think about the denial. You know, everyone thinks, "Oh, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm doing fine," is because they don't want to admit to themselves that they actually need the help that they need.
You know, because like one main function of, if we're talking about like substance abuse, a main function is the escapism that happens from it, right? It can be hard to face the emotional challenges and difficulties that are present in yourself or like in your environment, within yourself, whatever the case may be. One, it can just be hard to face it. Two, there may not be much you can at that time do with it, or you're like not in the knowledge of what to do about it. A lot of the times substance abuse stems from a need to like block it out, run away from it, from the challenge that it is. And you know, and it's super effective, right? Like, because the drug will do something. Like, and it's instant, right? You get a dependence on certain drugs, and then you might need more of it. But with enough of it, it will have its intended result, and it's easy. And I think that's why it's so popular. Because you don't have to do therapy. You don't have to talk about what's going on. And you don't have to. And even with other medications where like they're more physical, like high blood pressure medication, still a substance, if you will. It's easier to do that than have a healthier lifestyle, exercising, going for walks, eating healthy. It's a quick fix.
And you know what's crazy? It's so accessible.
Yeah, like and almost promoted.
It's promoted everywhere. Now, if someone stops smoking cigarettes or, you know, want to stop smoking weed, you have these vapes to take, you know, replace it. And then the chemicals that's in the vapes kind of give you that same thrill and that same feeling and activate, you know, your mind or whatever, stimulate your mind. And then it's like, we're not going anywhere. You feel me? Like, we're still working, you know, and I'm going to say this. It always relates back to the system. It's true.
It could be the system. It could be the convenience. It is a business, okay? Like the alcohol industry. I don't know all the specific facts, but I will trust and believe. Like even during the times of Prohibition, people fought for that to be over because, you know, it was an industry that was there, but they got shut down. And there's like, for the joy that it could bring, responsibility, or for the escape.
Everything's escape.
It's marketed as such, if you will.
People try so hard to escape their reality that they don't even, you know, are present enough to know that they're messing up someone else's reality. Like a lot of people are, they use these drugs and then they start to their thinking is impaired.
Oh yeah.
And then a lot of victims. So it's like one victim creating a next victim. And I'm gonna get into my next topic about on this episode. So if you didn't know, April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And I just want to say I'm proud of every sexual assault survivor. I'm proud of you to identify as a survivor and not a victim. Everything that happened to you wasn't because of, it's not on you, it's on your attacker. And I'm kind of compassionate, so I started to, instead of thinking why does this happen to me, or I start to think what happened to them to make them want to hurt me, so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm tying substance abuse to sexual assault because there are a lot of victims and survivors out there who were collateral damages to someone else's addiction.
Or with a substance involved, an act of sexual assault happened, which doesn't I was we were at a party, we were drunk, and there's no excuse for it.
No, okay? Never an excuse.
There's no excuse. Consent is one thing, right? Assault is without consent.
Exactly. That's literally the definition of what sexual assault is. And the thing about it is just a lot of people aren't sure what substance abuse is, they don't know what sexual assault is. Because in our community, it isn't really spoken about. So you grow up and you get these feelings, of course, and you think it's okay to feel these feelings for another person without them saying, yeah, I feel them too, and it's just, I want, so I'm going to take,
That's where you got the game twisted right there.
Exactly.
Because, there's no overpowering someone to get what you want. There is no manipulating someone to get what you want. There is no, she was throwing me signs, and
that's the one.
And I was a little drunk, and
they love that excuse.
But if she had these clothes on,
that's the one. That's
there is none of that. There is none of that. Yes is yes, no is no. That's it. Otherwise, you can be in jail.
Hello,
that's
literally, for real. And it's not only women who are targeted for sexual assault. Also men. Their majority of the men that's sexually assaulted are from family members growing up, or family, distant family member, or family friend, someone you really trust. And it's a whole thing when it comes to males. Women that are raising the male want them to be dominant. They want them to know how, you're a man, you're gonna like this, you're regular, and it's no,
Yeah. And, it's from the male perspective, there's ways that a male has been socialized in what the expectations for him is, and the strong provider, especially in our community. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So if one is a victim of sexual assault, it can be such a hard conversation to have, or that piece of information is hard to kind of work with for the individual, because not only is it not supposed to happen, but how did I not protect myself from this?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And but I just want to encourage anyone, male or female, if you've been a victim of sexual assault, please, there are resources out here that can help you, emotionally overcome the damage that it might have caused. And also there's resources out here to, advocate for you and find justice if you haven't found it already, and that is something that you want, because you are owed it through your experience.
Yeah.
And it's it's like making things right.
Yeah, and never blame yourself.
Yeah,
Never blame
never.
yourself. And I know it's like really easy to just start blaming
Yeah.
yourself.
It's
Like,
honestly probably the number one response that people have after a sexual assault.
yeah, it's like, oh, I shouldn't have been here. I shouldn't have been wearing these clothes. I shouldn't have been talking to them. You know, I should have just kept my distance. Now I need to be closed off for the world, have these boundaries up, create a wall so nobody could touch me. You know, and it's like, it's not your fault. It's never your fault. So if you're still, you know, healing from your experience, take it one step at a time. Of course, it's easier said than done, and it's a cliche. Everybody says that, but never go too hard on yourself. You know, and I'm really like, power to you who's still standing, because that's really like, you took all my choices away from me. Like the first, whew, this is a hard topic to
Yeah.
talk about, but it's like, don't, you know, turn your hatred towards yourself, or don't even let that help you produce hatred to anybody else, you know. So I just wanted to, you know, touch bases on sexual
Yeah.
assault.
You know, I'm so happy that we're talking about these two subjects together because, you know, it's the influence of certain substances that it's where these actions, if you will, happen. Like at the party, we were drunk, things got out of hand, or you know, just under a substance, you can have less control over yourself. And I'm not saying this as I'm not speaking to like the victim of sexual assault right now. I'm talking about the perpetrator.
Yep.
Right? And certain party drugs loosen you up, but like alcohol is known to build aggression and senseless behavior, or you think you're Superman all of a sudden, and especially, and then you're in like peer groups where there's a mentality that like peer pressure is a real thing, right?
Definitely a real thing.
And under the influence, surrounded by young people, you can find yourself doing something stupid.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, don't get caught up, is what I'm trying to kind of say right now, where, because quickly things can change, especially if, like, if it's your first time, whether it be at a party or using a certain substance, like, just be careful, because there is an impact that's about to happen to you, and you don't know if it's happening for the first time. You don't know what it might do to you. You know, there's a big myth out there, like there's a different, you know, I only do dark because every time I do white, right? Like, you know, these substances have power and they will influence you. But that, in the court of law, just because you were drunk or under the influence,
that doesn't say
isn't going to give you, that does not give you permission.
Exactly. Like, literally, consent. Consent.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
if you hear no, stop, I don't want to, I'm not sure, maybe if that's just saying no. They're all no.
That's right.
Like, don't say, oh, what if I, you know, do the little, you know, y'all know how y'all be when y'all do your do. When y'all do that, just stop. Don't keep pushing. Like, we said no.
Yeah.
We said we're not sure. We're not ready. Why are you still trying to convince me? Huh? Why are you still pushing up? Like, back. Chill.
No, back up. Like,
for real.
Because that can back up.
Back up.
And, you know, consent, there's certain conditions in which permissible consent can be given. And if a person is too intoxicated and you know, because there's those, oh, I blacked out last night. Like, a person cannot remember giving consent. Court of law, if that person cannot recall giving consent, and then in the present day is not liking how things transpired, that can be you. Like that's gonna be I can't cuss.
And it's
say,
like
but I know what I'm trying to say.
even if they gave consent and they're intoxicated,
inebriated, and
they're still not thinking clearly.
Yeah. So you play that risk if you want to.
Ultimately, that's a red flag of leave me alone. You feel me? So like, relax.
Yeah.
Like,
yes, do not see that as an opportunity to take advantage. Do not see that as an opportunity as like to strike now. Like it's not supposed to be like that.
At all.
Whatever happened to doing it because you were in love.
That's literally like that's sacred. Like, how can you just be like pounce someone just because they look good or they smell good or they, just look like they got it like why are you trying to just force someone's will? You're not God.
Like just don't. There are major consequences that you can face if things did not happen soberly and consensually. Be mindful of that. I want to go back to talking about being blacked out, right?
Oh yeah, let's go back to that.
That is so destructive to the body, right? Getting to that point, there's no way you're having fun anymore because you don't remember.
Exactly.
And you feel like craziness in the morning or whenever. Y'all some night folks, but there's blacking out essentially means you have lost your state of consciousness. You don't remember. You can still be active and moving and phasing, but you don't know. And if you don't know, that means you weren't in control. And like, you don't know what could happen. Especially like, you don't really want to put that on your friend's responsibility. Like, oh, I'm a blackout, but my friends will take care of me. My boys will take care of me. What if it happens? What if they do it? Or the people are drunk, or people are under an influence where rational thinking is not the top priority. You can put yourself at serious risk, not remaining at least conscious of your decisions.
Yeah.
Scary.
I've read about blacking out. Actually, it's your body responding to an overdose. So basically, you black out because your body is trying to like keep you from dying, basically, like literally dying. So imagine how it feels to just like withdraw from all of that. Like, you're drinking all of this and you blacking out because your body is trying to keep you alive. Then you start saying like, okay, that happened. Let me keep, at a rate you're excessive drinking, but now you have to dial it back. Imagine what that do to your mental health, your physical health.
Yeah.
Like what?
Yeah, it all just comes down. I mean, you're in a period of sickness as your body heals and tries to get back to equilibrium. Within your blood, within your vital organs, within your brain. Your brain chemistry, people like the amounts of serotonin that's being produced, the amounts of epinephrine that's being produced, they're all out of whack because it just got smashed, within the last 24 to 48 hours. And, it's like for the purpose of doing it, right? Maybe the joy or the escape, if you will. It came at what cost, right? Because what if you had to do something productive the next day, but things got too out of hand, or like you overindulged. Now you're gonna be sluggish, or not your best fit for an important engagement. And like, it's your decision, but is it beneficial? Is it doing something good for you, or is it bringing you to your detriment?
Yeah, it's funny because it's like everything is full circle. So
Mhm.
you're indulging in these substances to keep block out all the crazy things that's happening in your life just to feel happy. But it comes back around because the more you do it, the more unhappy you actually are.
Yeah. And the more dependent you become
Exactly.
on needing that to fill that void that you're having.
Yeah, I just want to say, if this discussion didn't just think you like, oh, maybe doing this isn't the right way, I'm literally here to tell you that it isn't. Like, I'm not saying don't have fun.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, have fun, like responsibly. It's legal for reasons. It can be fun. Don't go overboard. Please don't black out. Oh my gosh.
Please don't black out to the
Worse.
point where you're trying to do other things that you shouldn't. Don't do that.
No, it's like, I feel like in the start of this episode, it's a holiday for some, right? And almost wanted to keep this conversation light spirited, but this is very serious topics.
It's for so mental health and everything else. When are we ever light spirited?
I know, right. We're honest, right? We
Always.
keep it real with our audience.
And ourselves.
And we tell the facts, give the experiences. And I'm saying all that to say, like, when it comes down to using substances, some people call it party favors, some people just straight up call it drugs, if you will. Like, always identify its purpose, right? And if you can, have that purpose be something beneficial to you, and it doesn't bring you any harm. If anything, let it reduce harm. Because I think that's where some become justifiable, some substances, and others are just like, wait, you did what? If you are dealing with a substance use disorder or abuse in a substance, be honest about it. Because there's a reason for it. Like, a lot of times in substance abuse counseling, we have to, like, as the clinicianal side, we look at reasons why the person's using. Because there's a driving reason. Like, I do it because it's the time of my life. Okay, all right. That will be a pro. What are some of the cons to using, right? Well, I ain't got no money, and my family doesn't. They come at me because I'm always irate, or I can't hold a job, or I can't handle my responsibilities consistently. Whatever, depending on the substance, right? Then we start to try to look at, well, what do you think life would be like if you didn't use a drug or a substance? And that could, like, start to help to imagine a new life. Because typically under substance abuse, there's a negative part that's happening that is taken away from the real joy of life. The joy now only becomes from the substance. And it's like, if in absence of the substance, you can't find joy anymore. And that's just not reality. That's not real life.
Nope.
Life can be joyful, sober.
Yeah.
It's a real thing, I promise.
Yeah.
It really is.
I feel like you said earlier, like, it's easy.
It's just,
It's easy. Like, you take the drug and it's instant. And instant happiness.
Yeah.
And being in reality is like, a lot of people struggle with, what's my purpose? Will I ever find happiness? Will I ever find, will I ever become rich? Will I ever have a significant other? Will I ever have kids? Things of that nature. And it's like, they don't want to find out, basically. They don't want to go through life with just living it to see. It's like,
yeah, I have to agree with that.
yeah, it's like, okay, I'm worrying about these things, but if I take this drug, these will cease to exist for the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like constantly. And I was like, you're in your own world, like you're in a whirlpool now.
Yeah.
You lose focus of what is real and what's imaginary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it just distorts your whole mind.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It definitely can.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because some people get stuck in that cycle
Mm-hmm.
where, you know, the demands and pressure of life and like that inner urge to like maybe become something. It's going to take some work, don't get me wrong, but like that urge to become something because of the anxiety and the stress that it produces, which is a feeling that we don't want to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it can be overwhelming at times because we don't necessarily have better tools to handle it.
Yeah.
Now the drug becomes an option.
You know, I'm very spiritual, so a lot of people might think this is mystic, but I feel like it's a good it goes hand in hand with, you know, real life, physical health, mental health, emotional health.
Mm-hmm.
It's this thing called shadow work,
Mm-hmm.
and you literally just explained it. You know, going through these things is hard, but I have to go through it. Like, you have to be honest with yourself in this period of doing shadow work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, you know, tell yourself what you lack, what you don't like, you know, what you try to hide, you know, and you can only do this type of work if you're literally sober and focus on, you know, and focusing on really just trying to enjoy life. You know, so I just wanted to throw that out there because it connects. Everything is connected. That's how everything is connected. So it's just people don't want to take that initiative within themselves to just do what they have to do, and the drugs are just easy, given to me, just literally over the counter.
It's like the drugs is what makes me feel alive. But yeah, if you kept pursuing the dream that you had, right, throughout the ups and downs, and got to that point, you'd find out that the reward for that is way better than what a drug can
Exactly, way better.
Yes,
and so much bigger. You know, like
it's sustainable. It brings more to you.
Exactly.
People respond to you. Like, let's like open the floodgates, if you will.
I'm saying, like, you taking this little pill that's gonna give you a momentarily happiness because you don't want to, you know, just keep on going. You know, but if you keep on going, then you'll see how little. That's why. You'll see, like, this is just like, it's literally a new obstacle you have to overcome.
Yeah, it eventually can turn into that. Like, I mean, in the mental health world, there's big debates about how do we best service a client, and like, you'll find clinicians who are like, I'm anti-pills or like medicine, because I feel like most of the work can be done through talk therapy.
It can, though.
Right? On the flip side, I will say there are times where mental illness can be so severe where to even have the talk therapy begin to work, there is a bodily stabilization that needs to happen. Where, you know, then a certain type of medication can do the trick. And that's fine. You know, again, we go back to that. How is this substance, what is its purpose? What is it doing? And is it ultimately getting me to somewhere positive? Right? But before medication, there's just a lot more that you can do that will produce longer lasting results that will lead to happiness or reduction of an ailment than being dependent on the drug to do it.
Like, drugs aren't therapy. They aren't the best way out, you know.
It's not the only way.
Basically, it's not the only way, and it shouldn't even be your first choice. Like,
sometimes
honestly,
it's necessary, but there's a lot of other things you can do.
They didn't pay attention at the DARE assemblies, though. They didn't, because if you did, you would be scared. But on a serious note, it's like, before you know, rely on those, try try talking about it, being honest with yourself. You're never alone. If y'all don't see that sign over there,
That's right.
You're not alone. That's been hanging up there since October.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing this since October.
Mm-hmm.
He's a personal counselor. Mm-hmm. You're not alone.
I'm here to have these conversations.
Same.
And it's no judgment
at all.
I'm meeting you where you're at. Like, I genuinely just want to see you strive and do better.
Hello.
That's it.
Literally it.
And however which way I can do that for you, I'm there. That is literally what therapy is about.
Literally.
That's I can't really make it any more simple.
It's like it's simple. Like, there are people here that wants to help you understand the things that you cannot understand yourself. Mm-hmm. You feel me? And then once you see that and you start to build this magnitude of, maybe I can start to do it on my own. Absolutely. Be honest with yourself. Take the steps that you talked about in therapy, or things that you found work for you to continue doing, and then you'll see how brighter and greater your life starts to become without the need of a substance. If you want to, if you have a little anxiety, you need a little party pregame, to get off the, be a wall bunny. That's cool. But if you're just, I need this to actually eat.
Yeah.
I need this to actually write this paper. I need this to even watch TV. You have a problem.
There. Go back to shadow work, right? Mm-hmm. There just might be some things that are not being addressed, and it would be helpful to talk about. And it can be anything. Like, I don't care what it is. I literally do not care. Yeah. As long as you're actively taking the steps to talk about it, we're going to get through it. We're going to process it. We're going to figure out all the ins and outs of it. And we're going to then learn about ways to overcome it.
Yeah, because there's always a reason to why we're where we are at the moment that we're in it. And like I said earlier, I'm a compassionate person. So if you're doing me wrong, I'm always going to know why. What's going on with you that you feel like you need to hurt me to make yourself feel some type of better. You feel me? I don't take things too personally. I just always want to make sure that people are okay in their life, because it's too many victims, it's too many survivors, it's too many people who are not here with us because of these topics that aren't really discussed, in certain communities. So
there's no shame in speaking about what you're going through. Honestly, if you don't, it's like it will kind of take over you, and then you might find yourself doing activities that it's going to make it much harder to get through, to get to a better point in life.
Yeah, I'm saying, don't make your life harder.
No, we don't have to live in that type of age anymore. Like, therapy is for everyone, and therapy, counseling, mental health resources. If there's something that you're dealing with, literally look for the help. Yeah. Or there's somebody here who can guide you to a better place. Like, especially
my college students. Like, come on,
it's free.
It's part of tuition. Yeah, go upstairs.
You're like, in a sense, you're like paying already to not have problems.
Hello.
Right? I feel like that's my plea of sorts. Like, utilize the resources, because we're here for you.
Absolutely.
And I think I can honestly say therapy is much better than a drug. I won't say therapy is a drug. That's not the right thing to say. But, if it's overcoming something that you don't want to deal with, processing something that was challenging for you to go through, therapy, counseling, it's a safer space to do that.
And I just want you guys to take heed to this discussion. I'm going to end the podcast now. I feel like we did what we can.
Yeah.
We did what we can. And of course, I got that little quote for you.
I
got that quote. It's more so affirmation. It's for everybody that we spoke about tonight. It says, I am lucky, happy, empowered, talented, dependable, powerful, respected, capable, eternal, intuitive, harmonious, beautiful, strong, gentle, smart, calm, enough, holy, patient, blessed, secure, courageous, life, divine, infinite, inspiration, inspiring, authentic, grateful, kind, worthy, friendly, genuine, present, safe, confident, whole, motivated, generous, unstoppable, appreciated, limitless, encouraging, grounded, peace, complete, able, creative, wise, healthy, open, caring, brave, abundant, fearless, love, phenomenal, connected, unique, successful, magnificent, free. I am. You are. We are. And with that being said, thank you so much for tuning back to What's Up with Mental Health and Everything Else. Have a great night. Enjoy your 420.
Happy holidays.
Thank you so much.